forward, he's very difficult to deal with.
Oh!
Right hand! He hurt him bad!
So UFC 320 just wrapped up. What a card, especially the main card. It delivered to a different level. First minute KO for Pereira against Ankalv. Not many people expected that. Not a lot of people expected Ankalv to win this fight. Obviously, I predicted Pereira by KO and he got the KO in the first round. That's how it goes sometimes in life, guys. If you guys need any more proof that I'm the predictions king, just I did think Roundry was going to win, but that's besides the point. But yeah, man, my predictions went 10-4, so not bad. I mean, I got most of them right. But yeah, let's just go through some of the fights. Starting with Brahim versus Vanderford. I can't lie, Brahim is kind of looking like a little bit of a prospect. You know, he's looking really, really solid with that submission game. Pretty much all of his wins coming by submission, I think. You know, he did get taken down by Vanderford in that first round. The second round comes out and then he just hits a nasty combo on Vanderford, ending with that head kick that dropped Vanderford. And, you know, Vanderford, he did kind of recover a little bit, but then Brahim latches up a guillotine submission. And that's how it went, man. You know, Brahim is looking very, very decent. I think 1 or 2 more fights and he can be looking to fight in the top 15. Next up, Shabbazian versus Muniz. Absolutely great win from Shabbazian here. You know, it only took 1 round to get that TKO finish over someone like Muniz. He was a very solid contender. Even up to the finish, I think Shabbazian was winning this round. You know, he was doing well at evading Muniz's shots. He had some good kicks of his own. You know, he had some good clinch work. And he defended the takedowns well from Muniz. Obviously, at the end of that round, Muniz did get a takedown, but that ultimately led to him getting finished because obviously Shabbazian was able to get up and then from the break of the clinch from the takedown, he had landed a nice shot on Muniz, dropped him, and then had some nasty ground and pound elbows and punches until Muniz got finished. That's how it goes, man. I mean, Shabbazian is actually a really, really solid contender. He's having a little bit of a comeback now. Obviously, you know, near the beginning of his UFC career, he actually went on a nice little run. Then he lost a few, and now he's going back on another really good run. I think he's on like a 4-fight win streak or maybe even 5. What do I want to see next from Shabbazian? To be honest, I don't want to rush him back into the rankings. Obviously, he was a ranked fighter before, but I think the best for him right now would be Magdov. Obviously, Magdov is coming off of a submission loss against Joe Pyer. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I think that's what's next for Shabbazian. I think that's a good little test for him. Next up, Patchy versus Vales. Bro, oh my days, I don't even know what to say about this fight. Okay, first of all, it was a pretty close fight. Maybe Patchy should have got that win. It was a split decision, but, you know, who cares? Patchy against someone like this should be dominating them, and he looked terrible, bro. Like, I don't know what it is with these Bellator champions. Even Pitbull, when he came into the UFC, he looked slow and, you know, not amazing at all. And same with Patchy. This guy might be the biggest fraud of all time. People were hyping up to be able to be the flipping UFC champion. And he can't even beat Vales, who, I don't even know who this guy is. Maybe Vales is a great fighter, I'm not sure. But, bro, Patchy is just a terrible fighter. No, okay, that's crazy. No, he's not a terrible fighter, of course, but he's just so slow. He's got no power, no variety in his shots, no head movement. You know, we haven't seen really anything of his ground game. I don't know, man. This is a terrible display from Patchy Mix. Get him out of the UFC immediately. Next up, Daniel Santos versus Yu Sang. At the end of the day, he was showboating and he paid the ultimate price for it. In that second round, Daniel Santos clips him and finishes him. Simple as that. You know, first round, you know, Yu was landing better strikes than Santos. But he was backing up with his hands down. You know, he was kind of when he got taken down, instead of trying to get up, he was just kind of dancing around and stuff. I don't know what this was. I think, you know, I'm not gonna say Santos didn't deserve to get the win, but I think that if Yu Sang actually, you know, tried to fight properly, then I think it might have been a different, you know, story. But I mean, big up to Daniel Santos, of course. Next up, Atiba Gautier versus Tristan Vines. Tristan Vines gets knocked out in the first round. It's exactly like we expected. I mean, this guy was literally coming in on short notice. And if you're coming in on short notice against someone like Atiba Gautier, you need to expect to get knocked out because, bro, this guy has crazy power. He lands a knee. He has a really nice knee on Tristan Vines. I don't know how Vines survived that. But then, you know, for the finish, Atiba kind of just throws him on the cage and just punches him a few times. And that's it. Like, it's clear that this guy has crazy, strength. And I'm really glad that, he said in a post-fight interview that he's not trying to take really big jump ups in competition. And he wants to take his time. I really like that, because obviously normally fighters, when they're on a good winning streak, they kind of want to, rush their way to the rankings, and they want an immediate title shot, blah blah blah. But with Ateba Gautier, he's saying like, look, he's only 23, he's got so much time, and if he takes his time, picks the right fights, gets the right experience, maybe he should fight a wrestler, then I think he has a really good chance of becoming champion. Now we are on to the main card. The first fight was, of course, Magdov versus Joe Pyer. Joe Pyer wins by submission in the second round. Wow, great performance from Joe Pyer. Obviously, you can say whatever you want about him. He's the saltiest fighter in the UFC, blah, blah, blah. But you have to admit he is actually a really good fighter. Obviously, in that first round, literally wobbles Magdov with the first punch he lands. He has crazy power, you have to admit it. But then he's also got the ground game. He's literally submitted, someone that's really good on the ground in Magdov. Gets the rear naked choke in the second round. I don't know what's next for him. Obviously, for Magdov, like I said earlier, I think he should fight Emtt Shabbazian. But with someone like Joe Pyer, maybe he should. I think Gregory Rodriguez would be like a really good matchup, because both of these guys have crazy power. So I would like to see that fight, but maybe Gregory Rodriguez is already matched up against someone, I think. So if he is, then, get him in against someone, lower down in the rankings. We need to give him, we need to build him up a little bit. You can't just throw him in the deep end, really quickly. So, give him someone like, I don't know, Marvin Vettori or Ikram Aliskerov or someone like that. Next up, Zalal versus Emtt. This was a quick one, man. I mean, Zalal literally got in there, got the takedown, got the submission, and got out of there. That's how it goes. Yeah, he looked great in this fight. Obviously, Emtt is a little bit washed. He's like 40 years old now. I would love to see him retire, because I don't really see him winning any other matchups against any other ranked fighters. Maybe he has one more, fight against a non-ranked fighter, which is just like an easy career end win. But yeah, I mean, obviously, near the beginning of that round, Zalal, he gets a great takedown. So masterful. He capitalizes off Emmett's impatience and complacency. Emmett's just going forward. He's so impatient, and he lunges forward, and then obviously Zalal instantly takes him down and gets that back. And then I didn't actually see a tap, but apparently it was a verbal tap. It was an armbar, I think. And I think that is the quickest finish of Zalal's UFC career. So great win. He called out Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy's going to get a title shot probably, so I don't see him getting that fight, but I think maybe he should fight someone like Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen literally hasn't fought in ages. I don't know where he's at, but I think that would be a good matchup. Next up, the featured fight between Yuri Prochazka and Roundry Jr. This was a great fight, like people imagined. I thought maybe it would be a little bit disappointing, but especially that third round was insane. I was going crazy after that finish. Obviously, the first round, first thing I noticed was that Yuri was towering over Khalil. Like, he was so much bigger. It was clear that he had a longer reach as well. Both had some decent kicks, but I don't know what was going on with Yuri's footwork. I mean, it looked a little bit off. Maybe he was slipping, or maybe his movement, got compromised by Khalil. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Khalil just had some ruthless combos in that round, and there was so much tension. Like, you could feel like at any moment this fight could get stopped from either of them. But yeah, Khalil, no nonsense in that first round. Easy first round from Khalil. Round two, again, really good pace. They come out. But, it's a bit of a lackluster round. Kind of hard to tell who won. But Khalil landed a few decent shots, oblique kicks. Yuri had some nice kicks, but I would say Khalil kind of edged that round. So, third round, Yuri needed a finish, and that's exactly what he went for. An insane round. Yuri comes out and puts an absolutely crazy pace on an absolutely gassed Khalil Roundtree. Just punishing him with so many shots until he gets put out cold. Even Pereira didn't put him out cold like that. Perfect round three from Yuri. Comes out all guns blazing, and capitalizing off Khalil when he had nothing left. Great fight. Yuri needed that finish in the third round, and he got it. And that third round is probably one of the best rounds in recent UFC history. But, you got to give to both of these guys. These guys are both warriors, of course. I did pick Khalil Roundtree to win this fight. And, part of me still thinks that he definitely could have won this fight. Obviously, third round, it's like, that a lot of people would have struggled to survive in that third round. But these guys need to learn to shoot takedowns, bro. Like, it's so annoying when, you know, they're just getting absolutely pieced up and they're just carrying on taking punishment when, if they, you know, at least if they try a takedown, they could, you know, they could get one and then they could finish the round, get some, you know, controlled time, ground and pound. But, you know, with these guys that strike and only strike, you know, they're so fixated on following this code that, you know, they pay the price for it, and that's exactly what happens with Khalil Roundtree. You know, that happened in the Pereira fight, and that's happened in this fight. I still think Khalil Roundtree is a really, really skilled fighter, you know, ruthless fighter, but obviously Yuri was too much for him in that third round. Great win from Yuri Pasca. What's next for them, man? Khalil Roundtree, he was a number 4 ranked guy. He probably will stay there, to be honest. But obviously, I think he needs to fight down in the rankings now. You know, I think the winner of I think Murzakhanov is fighting someone. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Murzakhanov versus Rakic. I think if Murzakhanov wins that fight, I think do Khalil versus Murzakhanov. I think that's a really big step up for Murzakhanov. And for Yuri, I think, you know what, I think he does deserve the title shot, but, you know, at the end of the day, like, he's fought Pereira twice. Obviously, Pereira won tonight, which was a crazy fight, by the way. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, you know, obviously, Pereira's fought him twice. I don't really have any interest in seeing that fight again. I think Pereira fights Olberg, and then after that, I think he retires or goes up to heavyweight. But I would like to see Yuri get the title shot. I think he definitely deserves it. Next up, the co-main event, Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sanhagen. This fight turned out exactly how a lot of us thought that it would. 49-45 for Merab Dvalishvili. Great win from him. Let's go through this fight. So first round, you know, I have to give it to Sanhagen. He was piecing Merab up with a little bit. You know, he had some good jabs. I don't know. At the time, I was thinking, why is Merab striking with Sanhagen? Sanhagen was landing some great counters, some great kicks. You know, Merab was landing a few good shots in the clinch. And then I think he landed a takedown as well. But, I mean, overall, great movement and jab from Sanhagen. So I think he did kind of take that first round. Second round was insane. Great takedown. Great takedown defense from, you know, Sanhagen earlier in that round, but such heavy pressure from Merab. This is what you have to expect when you're fighting him, I guess. But then Merab kind of messes up for trying to go for the submission, so he loses Sanhagen against the cage. But bro, the big, you know, part of this round was when Merab almost KOs Sanhagen. You know, we heard Merab before this fight saying that he wants to knock out Sanhagen, and he almost did it. But then, you know, so basically he starts teeing off on Sanhagen. I don't think Sanhagen's ever been finished by KOs or by strikes, you know, in the UFC. So, you know, Merab is teeing off on him. He gets dropped. And literally, he looks like, bro, Sanhagen is literally so close to getting finished. But then Merab starts clinching, bro. I don't know what he's doing. If he went for the finish, he would have got it 100%. So that's a bit annoying, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, Merab still dominated the rest of the fight. And then obviously from there, Merab had some good control. You can't deny Sanhagen's heart, but I mean, at the end of the day, that was still a 10-8 from Merab. Next 3 rounds, basically are summarized by this photo on the screen. You know, Sanhagen landed a few good shots, but Merab was literally just farming takedowns. He would, you know, clinch against the cage, Merab would take him down, Sanhagen would get up, Merab would take him down. Just repeat that cycle again and again and again. That happened at least, I would say, like 20 times throughout this entire fight, where Sanhagen just gets up and Merab just takes him down. To be fair, I'll give it to Sanhagen. He was able to get up a lot of times, but, you know, if you're just getting taken down, even if you are getting back up, like, if you're not doing anything of your own, then you're going to get flipping destroyed by a decision. You know, Sanhagen, he did land a few really, really good shots. But, you know, I think Merab's striking and his chin is actually really underrated. But, yeah, I mean, Merab, his pace is insane. He gets crazy amount of takedowns. I think, you know, in this fight, I think he broke so many records. And with Merab, he's just going to continue to break records. That's how it goes with him. What's next for them? I think for Merab, obviously, he has been saying that he wants to fight Petr Yan in December. If he is able to successfully get that fight and win that fight against Yan in December, I think he will be the first ever UFC champion to defend the title 4 times in 1 year, or 1 calendar year, should I say. That's insane. So hopefully he's able to get that. So I think that's what's next for him, Jan, in December. Corey Sanhagen, of course, he needs to fight down in the rankings. To be honest, I don't even think he really deserved the title shot in the first place. He did lose to Umar Nurmagomedov, but it is what it is. I think maybe he fights the winner of, I don't know, like, what's a good fight for him? Maybe if Zahabi can beat Vera, I think him versus Zahabi is a fair matchup. And finally, of course, that main event, Pereira versus Ankalaev 2, the rematch, and Pereira gets it done within literally the first minute of the fight. Wow, man. What can we even say about this fight? All that happened was they were feinting at each other for a little bit. Pereira lands a clean shot. The first clean shot he lands, dazes Ankalaev. I actually didn't think it affected Ankalaev as much as it did, but then, Ankalaev immediately shot for the takedown, but because he was so dazed, he wasn't really able to get anything off, and then Pereira just lands a ground and pound until the finish. Wow, man. Pereira's back, man. Pereira's back. This was insane. Bro, everyone was thinking that Ankalaev was going to win this. Just remember who said that Pereira was going to win by KO. Just remember that, guys. But yeah, I mean, what's next for them? Pereira, I think he fights Ulberg. I mean, he's already beat Yuri Prohaska, who won earlier, tonight. So I think him versus Ulberg, and then after that, I think he retires or goes up to heavyweight. For Ankalaev, I don't really see him getting an immediate rematch against Pereira, so I think he needs to go back to the drawing board. Maybe him versus Prohaska. I think Prohaska definitely deserves a title shot, but if Ulberg's going to get the next title shot, I think him versus Pasca would actually be a really good fight. Also, by the way, at the end of the fight when Pereira just got the knockout, he brought back the Khabib lame celebration, just pointing at his, dead opponent. Bro, that is the most humiliating celebration of all time. Imagine you just got knocked out, by Alex Pereira, and you just see this guy pointing at you lying dead on the floor. Like, bro, come on, bro. This is like, I would be so angry if this guy does this to me after I just got knocked out, bro. But anyway, that's about it for my breakdown of UFC 320. Overall, a great card. A great comeback, because obviously it's been 5 or 6 weeks since the last card. So, a great comeback to pay-per-view events. Out of 10, I would say probably 8.5. It's one of the strongest ones this year, and obviously that moment that happened in the main event is probably one of the greatest moments of MMA for this year. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on that post notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys next time. Safe.